Hello everyone and welcome back. How are you? It has been a while. I know I did not forget about the series. It's just I ended up getting a really crazy mutant cold that took me out for like a week, and so I'm kind of falling behind a little bit. There's some bad things going on around there. I rarely get sick, and wow, this one just took me out. And I don't roll like that. I was like, please let me up. I slept 17 hours. I'm like, I can't do this. I was not made like that. So, that was an interesting lesson in itself. But I'm back today. We are here moving on to our next zodiac sign. Yes. We just came out of Leo, so we went with a more bold look, as Leo likes. Leo is very much about, I am here. They're ruled by the sun, and they love that attention. They're a fire sign. The sun's the ruling planet, so the world is their stage. Now we're moving on to the next sign, who is not so much like that. And in some ways, some people may see these people as introverts more than the extroverted Leo, and that is Virgo. Yes, Virgo. So here's the thing. As I said in one of the earlier videos, I feel like there's 3 signs that are completely misunderstood and then 2 honorable mentions. And the first misunderstood sign is Aries, most definitely. Because a lot of people just see them in this negative light because they are the youngest sign. Their motto is I am, and so there's a lot going on with that. But I think people don't look beyond the surface sometimes with Aries, and a lot of the times the poor qualities that people want to pick out, that's what people want to focus on more than the hundreds of amazing qualities that they have. The next one is Gemini, who is the honorable mention, because I think sometimes people don't fully understand Gemini. Gemini is very complicated, and that confuses people. So again, people go with the easy kind of things to kind of nitpick on with Gemini, but they're very complex. And I think that people sometimes miss the full spectrum of what Gemini is, but Gemini is hard to pin down. So, I understand it, but there's the honorable mention there. And then our second most understood sign of the zodiac is Virgo. Virgo. Oh, if you watch like videos online and things, Virgo tends to get bashed on a lot. And it's just frustrating to me because none of the signs should be bashed, because you have almost every single one of these signs in your chart somewhere. Somewhere in your chart you have it. We are built up of all these different signs. You can't just go off of your sun sign. So I guarantee you have it somewhere, and it's teaching you a lesson in that house or in that planet or whatever. So Virgo, I am here to give you a boost of positivity because I love you guys. I think the world would not run well without the beauty that is Virgo, and that is the truth. We couldn't, because Virgo is a mutable sign, and it's also an earth sign, so it's our second earth sign. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a really simple eye look with some fun facts for Virgo as usual. This is not going to be intricate because that's just not who Virgo is. I'm not saying there aren't some Virgos out there who like to put it on and go a little bit crazy, but for the most part, I want to do a very practical, natural, very wearable look that Virgo would wear to the office and then go out afterwards. And they're very practical. So they would take this look anywhere to get them through a busy day that they have scheduled, because that's how they are. So let's do this. Okay, so this time we're going to go in with something, like I said, very simple, very wearable. We're going to go right in with Virgo's own color. Yes, it's that color that we've used for almost every single sign. It's just this beautiful kind of peachy pink color that just is gorgeous. And it is. It's perfect for what we're going for today. Now, is this the perfect color for Virgo? To be honest with you, no, it is not. Because Virgo, it's interesting because Virgo is one of those signs that actually has many kind of suggestions for colors. Like somebody like Aries, it's kind of just red and gold. It would kind of be a secondary type thing, but not with Virgo. But Virgo is complicated, so it doesn't surprise me. Not that Aries isn't, it's just a little bit more bold in its choices. Well, Virgo's a little bit more analytical. and practical. And for me personally, I like to think of white. For Virgo, yes, it is represented by the Virgin. And by the way, Virgin is not necessarily what it means astrologically. It's very different than the term that we use today. It doesn't necessarily mean chastity the way that it does in our society. It more has to do with somebody being dedicated to a certain skill and focusing on that. So it is a different meaning. But I do tend to see whites more representing Virgo, more because Virgo represents in a lot of ways cleanliness to me and practicality and everything in its place. And when I think of Virgo, I just think of this spotless, almost like white house. You know, it's true. So that's how I view it. But a lot of people actually with Virgo would choose greens and browns. And the reason is because it is an earth sign, and it's this idea of Virgo kind of living surrounded about the beauty of earth. Okay, so I just want to make sure that this is really blended in well and still, you know, definitely showing color, but putting more up above here, just really blending out those lines with Virgo. But what do I mean by cleanliness with Virgo? Now, this is, to me, and I've known quite a few Virgos, they're very clean people. They like everything in its place. And what I will say is that there's people out there who are Virgos who are not necessarily, there are a few that aren't necessarily clean people. And I've known a few, but here's what I know. The majority of them are extremely clean. But I've known some that basically, they were a little bit more what you would view as disorganized when you come into their space. But you can ask for, like, where are your taxes from 2014? And they will be able to go into the exact pile and pull it out and give it to you within 30 seconds. So even if it looks like to you that there is no organization, they know where everything is. These aren't people that just randomly lose something. So even if you may see their space as being a little bit messy, I guarantee they know exactly where everything is. I've seen it myself, though the majority of them do tend to be quite tidy, because I think it kind of messes with their psyche a little bit when things aren't organized. I don't want to get too crazy. I really don't want to mess with this too much, so I'm going to go in a little bit with Capricorn, like just a tad bit, just to add some dimension, because this, like I said, it's going to be a very simple eye look, but I just wanted to have some dimension here. Otherwise, it's just going to be kind of like, and we don't want that. So Capricorn's kind of this beautiful kind of khaki color, but with the pink, it's just going to look a little bit more brown. I just don't want it to overtake everything. But Capricorn and Virgo would get along quite well. They're both earth signs. They both are very practical, and so they would understand each other's practicality and need for stability very much. What I will say is that another great pairing, here's the thing with Virgo. Virgo is the analyzer. They're the ones who take information and they organize it in a way that they can present it to others. So they're really good at problem solving things, because they're very good at taking in information and figuring it out. And the thing is with Virgo, they are ruled by Mercury. Along with Gemini, both of these two signs are ruled by Mercury, but they are completely different, because Gemini is an air sign, so it has the information, but it's constantly worrying around it. You know, it's an air sign, so it's like, woo, you know, with its information and the way that it takes it in and then blasts it out. It's very different, and it's very quick, because Mercury is the quickest moving planet. So both the signs take in information quickly, including Virgo, but the difference is, because Virgo is an earth sign, it takes it a little bit slower. It plods along in a slower way. It analyzes it. It figures out the most practical way of using this information and then passing it on to others. So they're known as the great organizers of the zodiac. And, you know, sometimes, you know, some people this is kind of where they get a little bit of a bad name. And what I'm going to do is go back in with this just to blend this out a little bit, because I don't want it to be too harsh. But they kind of get a bad name because sometimes people will say that they're kind of bossy. Not bossy in Aries way, but because Virgo can kind of sometimes be seen as a know-it-all in some people's eyes, they're really nitpicky, and they're always telling me what to do. You know, this is something that I've kind of heard with Virgos. And the thing is, yes, they are very much into this is the way that it should be. Sometimes they're a little stubborn, like most earth signs, with the way that they deal with information because they've studied this deeply. They understand this information more than anyone else. They're not making a snap decision on things. They've sat with it. They understand it. So they feel they have a better understanding. And so when they're giving out information, Virgo is the great healer in a lot of ways and helper of the zodiac. So they're just giving out this information to make your life easier and to make the whole process easier. So they actually are trying to help you. And they can be kind of critical because it's important to have these details in line. If you don't have details, like if you have an architect and they don't have their details in line, that's going to be a dangerous building. And Virgo is very much aware of this. And so they're like, look, this needs to be done correctly for this project to really work. You know, you can't half-ass it like some of the other signs because it's going to become a danger. So Virgo is very much, look, this isn't a good idea. You know, get it done correctly. And sometimes people just go, gosh, you're being really critical of me, Virgo. And sometimes Virgo can be critical, but remember, Virgo is actually more critical of themselves than anyone else. And it's just kind of sad actually, because in a lot of ways, a lot of Virgos will have anxiety, and the anxiety comes from their ruling planet of Mercury, which is so fast moving, along with Gemini. But the difference is that Virgo internalizes it more, a little bit more than Gemini, and it can be kind of damaging. It's very stressful for Virgo, very stressful. So now what I'm going to do is go in with the center here. Yes. Very simple, like I said, and I am going to put this across the lid. So yeah, going off of what I was saying, Virgo's a very nervous kind of energy, and part of it is it's the perfectionist, so it doesn't want to be seen as anything but perfection. So as I was saying, as far as signs that are compatible on an emotional level, it's interesting. The earth signs will understand them because, hey, they've been there themselves. You know, they understand other earth signs, but I honestly think in a lot of ways Cancer or Pisces would be a nice combination for Virgo, because Virgo appears like the analytical being that doesn't have much emotion, but the reality is Virgo is an extremely emotional sign. They just hide it because it's not practical. You know, it doesn't help with what you're trying to do at the time, but Virgo is actually extremely emotional. In a lot of ways, they really want to please people, and this is what I think a lot of people don't realize, is they're the pleasers of the zodiac. You know, in a lot of ways, they want to help people, and it's kind of hurtful for them. They'll hide it and show disdain by being a little bit snippy sometimes, or pulling away because they could be introverted, or some people say they're kind of moody and mopey when they don't get their way, and it's because I feel like they're not understood, and because of that, that's a difficult placement to be in. You know, it's hard being the analyzer. It's hard being the one dealing with all the details. Most people don't want to do that, and that's where Virgo succeeds. And so they're constantly judged by that. And it's frustrating. Okay, so now I'm going to go in again. This is going to be interesting. So I'm going to take a little bit of Virgo and a little bit of Capricorn, and then just kind of boop, boop. I have a little piece of paper there. And then go slightly under the eye just to add, you know, a little bit of dimension. I don't want to go nuts here, so I'm going in very lightly just to line the eyes, because I don't want this to kind of fade into the background, you know, with this look, because it is very gentle. But I want a little bit of a pop there, because it's just, yes, it's gentle, but we want it to actually stand out a little bit and not just be, you know, you barely have anything on, which is actually really good for Virgo, but, you know, we want some dimension to this, because Virgo is very multidimensional, just in a way that people don't always see or understand. So, you know, they're complex. So the thing about Virgo is they do not like conflict. Now what I'm going to do is go in with this, again, the center, and then put it in the corner of the eye. So Virgo is one of those signs that does not like conflict. I'm going to flat out say it. If they can avoid it, they will. These are not confrontational people. That's more like the fire signs. Even Capricorn, even though it's an earth sign, could be confrontational in a lot of ways, because, you know, they're kind of the boss of the zodiac. They're like, heck no, get it done. Virgo can also be like this. They are, I've seen them and they want to be liked by everyone. These are the people who really want to be loved by everyone. And it's hard for them because of the way, you know, because like I said, dealing with the information, sometimes people read them wrong and it drives them crazy. But that being said, these are really good bosses and they know how everything is supposed to work. And if you're not getting your part done and you're not getting it done correctly, Virgo has no problem confronting you. They don't like to confront people, but if it is affecting the greater good of the project and what is being done, Virgo doesn't care. They're not pushovers. They will gladly push back because it's for the greater good of what's being done. Now I'm going to take this and also put it under the brow bone a little bit, just to add a little bit of that glorious Virgo shimmer. So don't look at them as a pushover. Don't look at them as somebody that you can push around and basically think you can get away with it, because that's just not going to happen. These people make exceptional bosses because they see the details. They don't always see the big picture. That's something more that Sagittarius and Aquarius would do, but they see the finer details and they know when you're not getting it done. So, believe it or not, this is it. This is all that I'm going to do with the initial look. So what I'm going to do is put on the rest of like the mascara and the eyeliner. I told you it was going to be a very simple look. Very clean, much like Virgo, clean, sophisticated, not overly detailed, simple, yet well put together. That's Virgo. So what I'm going to do, like I said, is put on the mascara, put on a little eyeliner, and then we'll do the rest of the look. Okay, so here we go. What I actually ended up doing, just so if you want to do a similar look, is I took, like, I have this white lavender like eyeliner that I use inside my waterline. So I went ahead, because I find white a little bit too stark, so this has a little bit of like lavender in it, which makes it a little bit more accessible. So I put that in the waterline to really make the eyes pop a little bit. And then I just put on mascara. It's funny because I kind of make these up as I go along. Sometimes I have an idea of what I want to do, but with this, I kind of knew what I wanted and I was going to go in a different direction. But then I went, you know what? No eyeliner. It's too fussy a lot of the time. So I opted to go without eyeliner, which I never do. I'm always like, eyeliner. I decided not to do that with this. And so what I did is I just put on mascara. And I used Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara to really make it pop. I think if you wanted to do fake eyelashes, I don't know if that would be perfect for Virgo necessarily during the daytime, but for going out, they'd definitely do that as long as it looked pulled together and classy. So I think that would also be great with this look as well, to add a little bit of drama to a very simple eye look. Because Virgo, you know what? A lot of people are like, they're so practical, but what people don't realize is that Virgo, once you get to know them, they have a little bit of a wild side. Yeah, even Aries can appreciate that. Let me tell you, it is true, but you have to get to know them before you see that. All right, so what I think I'm going to do is actually kind of go with a little bit of a shimmer with this. And so I'm going to just lightly go in here. I want like a pink. And this is the Cover FX palette that was released here this year. Oops, my hair is kind of getting in the way. And just add a little bit of that. So I'm putting this color, this darker red with this, and it's adding kind of a shimmer tone to it. I don't want it to just be a sterile pink tone. I want it to have almost an ethereal glow to it. And I think that this is working quite nicely. But I don't want it just to be a white glow. I want there to be some color added to it, because otherwise I'm going to look really washed out. And I think Virgo has this just natural beauty to it that glows from within. So that's what I'm going to go with. And then what I want to do is take some of this white with this lighter pink here, if you have this or anything similar, and then just really go in there. Now, I don't want to be gaudy with it, because I'm going to be honest, this palette doesn't really lead to that. It looks a lot more dramatic than it really is. I actually find in some ways it's almost too docile. I like it because I don't tend to wear a lot of highlighter, but it definitely is for a more gentle look, which I like. But you can definitely build it up, and I kind of want to do that here and just get in around the eyes for Virgo and just really get this almost angelic look to it. I love that. And I think it just works really well for Virgo. Because, you know, these aren't boring people. They're very, you know, like I said, they have these complexities to them that a lot of people don't understand. And so we don't want to be boring. Virgo's never boring. No matter what people say, and some people say that, and I'm like, you obviously haven't known too many Virgos too well because, like I said, they can be a little bit crazy. I've known a few. All right, so now we want to finish this up. I removed what I was wearing before, and what I want to do is take, this is Sephora's hashtag lip stories, which I absolutely adore these lipsticks. I have a review of many of these up already. So this is called Take a Spin, and it is probably one of my favorite colors of the collection. Now, what I love is it's kind of a pinky neutral. So it's very unassuming. It's very naturally beautiful. I feel like it just adds this pop of color, especially if you're someone like me who's a little bit fair, who's fair. It adds this nice kind of almost like natural look to your lips, but hints with a little bit of pink to it, which I just love because it's hard for me to find any neutrals because I'm so pale. And this just does it nicely, but it's not boring because it adds a little bit of shimmer. So it's almost like your natural color with a little bit of, hey, you know, shimmer it up, baby. All right, so this is the final look for Virgo. Yes, here we go. Ta-da! Very simple. But what I like about it is it's very simple, it's very practical. You can get out of the house like that, get on with your day, and it just, the best part about it is you can go with a light lipstick like this, and then later on when you go out in the evening, you can go with a little bit of a darker look and really make this look pop to go into the evening. But for somebody who's a little bit more practical and, you know, not a gaudy sign, you know, they're going to want something that's easy to go from day to evening and just switch it out with a lipstick. And even still, it's going to be a little bit understated because Virgo is very much about the natural beauty. You know, it's an earth sign. It's about natural beauty and pulling the beauty from within more. You know, it's not necessarily a flashy sign because Virgo is very introverted in a lot of ways. And here's the thing with Virgo, and this is why they're very misunderstood, is they're very cautious. You know, they can be very skeptical about things in a lot of ways, where it's like they want to see for themselves before they jump on the bandwagon. So they're very much individual thinkers. You know, they're very intelligent, and they want to find out for themselves. They're not going to follow the crowd and go, yeah, that's the way it is. No, they want to find out the truth for themselves. And they're also very cautious with people because they are really a sensitive sign, though sometimes people will look at them as just having it all together, and they won't necessarily realize that the inner turmoil going on with them is like, you know, it's very common with Virgo. These are people who look like they have their lives completely together, but their little Mercury, the Mercury planet that rules them, is just really causing conflict inside them because they're afraid that people won't realize that they don't have it that well together as people think they do. They're afraid of failure. They're afraid of not being perfect because that is their goal, is perfection. And the thing is, Virgo, be kind to yourself because nobody on this planet can be perfect. It's not possible. And what I've kind of realized in life is that, you know, because I myself would want to be a perfectionist at times, but the problem is I found when I started showing people my flaws more and celebrating those flaws rather than trying to hide them, that people opened up a little bit, you know, more to me, you know, people that necessarily didn't before, because perfection, you know, that's very difficult to compete with. And so when people see you with flaws, it actually humanizes you. But unfortunately, sometimes Virgo doesn't see this because they want to be perfect. That's their ultimate goal, or they want people to believe that illusion. And the reality is these are very sensitive people. These are people who want to be loved and appreciated, and it makes them nervous, you know, being the perfectionist, that if they're anything less, that people are going to go, well, you're not that great. You know, look, you failed. And ooh, Virgo doesn't ever want to hear that word. Oh no. You know, that's the worst F word for them. You know, it's terrible. So, you know, they need to be kind to themselves and be kind to them as well. And when you get to know them, they are actually such wonderful people and vulnerable people, and they probably don't want me telling you this, but it's true, you know. And when you get to know them on an intimate level, these are people who are extremely loyal, extremely loving. They're going to stick it out with you to the end, no matter what. Just very loyal, but you have to prove that you're worth opening up to them. And that's why I said in the beginning that they would do really well with Cancer, in my opinion, and Pisces, because these are two signs that love deeply. Pisces can be a little bit flighty at times, just because, you know, they have their heads up a little bit in the clouds, and that's not a bad thing. They're the sign closest to God, but they still have one foot on the ground. So Pisces is a very difficult sign to understand. It's like a fish. You try to grab it, it jumps out of your hand and it's gone. But when you connect with them on a deeper level, this would really, Virgo would kind of like this, but on the other end, Virgo would be kind of annoyed by the fact that Pisces isn't always practical, so there could be some problems there, but they would really connect well with Cancer in a lot of ways, because Cancer is about pulling out those emotions from people and connecting, and Virgo would love that. I think they would feel very secure with the Cancer kind of energy, because it's very nurturing. It's very much, you know, about home, and Virgo is in its own way as well, and so they would find some really nice connections there. So yes, this is my video for Virgo. I hope it clarified for some things for some people who, you know, don't understand Virgo. I feel like they're very difficult to understand. You know, they're complicated, and they're beautifully complicated, and there's just so much hate, you know, in the internet for the sign, and I'm like, why? Seriously, we could not function without these guys. The world would fall apart. So I love you guys. Keep doing what you're doing, because we need you. Yeah, we do. So the next sign that we are going to be going to is we are going to be revisiting air again. You know, we're moving past Gemini, little quirky, kind of crazy Gemini, and we're going to another air sign that's big into pushing ideas into the air, but it's a little bit more stabilized. It's a little bit more balanced, because you get it. You got it. It is Libra, the scales. So even though it's air and it's putting ideas out there, it has to do it in a balanced way. So it's a little bit more balanced than Gemini is a little bit, woo, you know, and Aquarius at times who can be a little bit, woo. I've known quite a few. They're a fun bunch. So, you know, that Libra is actually not too far off from Virgo in a lot of ways, and we'll get into that, because they both are in many ways perfectionists, especially when it comes to appearances and pulling themselves together. So, you know, sometimes when we go into the next sign, it's a little bit like dramatic, like Leo to Virgo is like, whoa. Not so much with Virgo and Libra, so this will be fun. So look for that video coming up, and I hope you enjoyed this today, and until next time, have a wonderful day. Bye.